Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Your Freedom Hub's Free Market Cash Patient. I'm your host, Jeff Cantor, along with Charles Frohman. We're definitely sponsored by the Marketplace for Health, Wealth, and Freedom, and we are the major disruptor in this intersection. So we do want you to realize that there is a problem. Not everybody's been able to put their finger on what it is, but I think this gives us a pretty good summation, to be sure. And, you know, we're fighting this in our own way in a variety of things, and part of it is going to get discussed tonight, but also as a delivery system is the idea of using this award-winning app that allows you to kind of be like Amazon, where you can book appointments and just pay cash and cut out the middleman, or if you've got insurance, the way you can tap money into your little wallet. But the idea is you're getting to see the price for the service published, and then you're paying the provider directly, so they don't have to bill or wait to get paid. It's a much better way to go. So we definitely want to encourage you to go to the website. This is the short version of the address to get there. Let's take a quick detour because you'll see why. There's an awful lot here to take a look at. As you can see, some great stuff under these various drop downs. Let's focus on a couple real quick. Under home, there's the webinar page, which is what we're here for tonight. And we'll come right back to this. But after the webinars, when you really oftentimes have a lot more questions or you want to help that speaker further their cause, so we've got what's called continuing the conversation. And when you go there, you'll see we feature all the various speakers, a little breakdown of what they're about, and then a way to connect with them in a very aggressive way. And I would tell you, you're going to want to review an awful lot of these people. Have got some great stuff to take a look at. And these are being recorded. So let's skip back to this page for a minute. If you get to the webinar page, when you kind of scroll down a little ways, you will see that we have the list of upcoming guests. We also have the links. So this episode will be released Monday morning. You can come back to any one of these 4 platforms to find it. And then also, to give you a taste, when you get over there to one of them, this is the Brighteon one as an example, you'll see there's an awful lot of videos that go back, you know, a couple years type of thing, and they're really some fantastic topics. None of this stuff has really become dated, as it were. There's some great stuff in here. So please encourage you. Now, the other thing I would hopefully ask you to do, though, is subscribe to all the channels. Let's say, oh, I love going to Brighteon. Well, you know what? Do us a favor. Subscribe to the YouTube one, the BitChute one, because the more subscribers, the more we trend on those platforms, and the more this information gets out in front of the people that need to see it. So that's really good. And now let's kind of go into what this page is for and show you how we discuss the guests of the week. And here we are on the right with Todd. So Charles, if you will do the honors, please.
Gladly, Jeff, and welcome, Todd. Since Jeff and my company were featured in Forbes for replacing insurance with sharing communities and creating cash patients using the sharing combined with health savings accounts, we've attracted a lot of other entrepreneurs as we've networked mostly via LinkedIn. And somehow we connected with Todd Marley, a insurance broker out of Pittsburgh, who had such an innovative package for small businesses, the most ignored part of the health market, that we've always stayed in contact with him to slowly learn the parts of his package. And now we've found the time where he could lay it all out. And in his bio at LinkedIn, you'll see why we like him. It says he rebelled against his family that was into insurance for generations. Like a lot of others, he really wants to innovate and, you know, solve problems. And the biggest problem with insurance is its cost and complexity. He first came out with a plan called the Pro-Life Plan, which later upgraded into the Panoptic Plan. And instead of trying to summarize that, Jeff, I think we'll let Todd take it from there.
Okay, yes, it started to sound complicated. So let's let Todd enlighten us. So here you go. I'm going to release the screen, and if you want to share yours.
All right. Well, welcome to the webinar. And Jeff and Charles, thank you very much for inviting me on. And I appreciate the kind words in the intro, and hopefully I don't disappoint. Oh my goodness, man! Pro-life health plan, that was a beauty. Right when the Obamacare first got passed, and everyone had their bronze, silver, gold, or platinum plans, and I'm looking at them going, this is a train wreck. How can we build something better? And you had the mandates and everything, and basically what I had done at the time was take a combination of different really high-end indemnity plans, wrap it inside of a Christian ministry to give some additional protections and get people out of the penalty box. And then I started teaching them about becoming a better consumer of healthcare. And that's when I became good friends with Dr. Smith out in Oklahoma. And I met a gentleman, Dr. Bill Hennessy, who's right from Pittsburgh and has a wonderful chassis called Prater, Price Matters, where you can go in and basically find a price for just about anything very quickly and easily. We all started working together. And I was primarily working on the individual market, right? The individual mom and pop shop, right? The self-employed guy or somebody that's making too much money to receive some kind of tax credit. And we did that for years and grew as an agency and saved a lot of people a lot of money, providing a plan that, in my opinion, was not only less expensive, but superior to any ACA plan, because there was really no additional risk. But by gosh, I mean, I had people that were able to save their homes because the indemnity plan continued to pay and, was able to put money in their pocket, like income replacement, and was able to save people's mortgages, when they were diagnosed with cancer or whatnot. And that went on for a while. And then it dawned on me, okay, well, we should be able to do something like this in the small business market. And as I go through the presentation today, you'll see the different tools and components that we put together. And eventually it evolved into what we call Plan Panoptic. And I get a lot of static sometimes about Panoptic. What the heck does that mean? Well, very simply, man, taking a broad, big-eyed view of the whole picture and trying to solve all your problems and making each one of those components help offset cost and increase benefit for each other. And as I go through this, I hope that becomes pretty plain to see. And I have a lot more screens than we probably need, as this presentation is kind of built more towards talking to a group of agents that are considering getting either involved with us and learning some different solutions to provide to their client base. And it's always good to have new innovative products and have something different, right? Being able to bring distinction to your organization. So like I said, you'll see things in here where a lot of the stuff is kind of leaning towards the agent. And I tell them right now, there's never been a better time to get into the group medical business, because, when there's change, when there's things that are happening, you can get in early and learn stuff and really help a lot of people and become an innovator and a frontline guy. On the agenda tonight, we're going to talk about Plan Panoptic in general, and what are the components of Plan Panoptic. And again, tonight, I'm not really talking about the individual so much, and we do have pretty much any solution that you could come up with in the individual market. Tonight's more designed for that small business owner, particularly under 50. When you get over 50, we have a whole another set of tools for bigger organizations, the 500,000 man shop. But this is particularly designed for the under 50 crowd, which frankly needs the most help, right? So Panoptic, here's an overview of what Panoptic is. And I think the key phrase to this is right here. By curating and leveraging a combination of best-in-class programs and tools that work together in a single ecosystem, we ensure that each component increases the value of the previous and offsets the cost for the next. So in other words, you got like a wheel going on there, right? It's like the water wheel where it's feeding and providing energy, and each one helps to helps to make the next part better. At the top here, you'll see the three main components and then three main tools underneath. And you'll see here, there's a PEO, level funded health plan, the Traverse program, the health matching account, reference-based pricing, and Prada. And again, that can be very complex looking at that at one point in time, but when you break it down, you start breaking it down into pieces, it's not too bad. The first thing I'm going to talk about it very quickly because it's not so much in the realm of what we're discussing tonight, but we work and have a partnership with a wonderful company called Resourcing Edge, which is what they call a PEO. A PEO is a professional employment organization. When I talk to a lot of small businesses, particularly over the last couple of years, one of the biggest problems they are having is dealing with all of the admin problems of owning a business. A big garage door company in Pittsburgh, he said, he's called me actually about health insurance, and I asked him, what is your biggest problem? And health insurance wasn't even his biggest problem. His biggest problem was, Todd, I got into this business and I sold a lot of garage doors, and as I grew, I don't have time to sell garage doors anymore because I'm always dealing with a growing regulatory burden. I'm dealing with OSHA, I'm dealing with the Department of Labor, I'm dealing with Pennsylvania, I'm dealing with the states, I'm dealing with unions, I'm dealing with all these different things. And as you can see over the years, now we have so many different rules and regulations, it buries the small business owner. So what does a PEO do? Well, a PEO is basically hiring a ben admin. You're outsourcing a ben admin. And it's actually quite inexpensive when you figure the cost to do all of that stuff. And the reason we like Resourcing Edge is they're one of 81 that are actually IRS certified. They're one of 41 that are both IRS and ESAC, one of 14 that are both SOC 2 and audited, and only one of 10 that have all three of those. And the only one that's owned by a 130-year-old financially strong life insurance company, Assurity. So they have some financial backing. And their model is based on it with the insurance agent in mind. So as an insurance agent, you have these companies like ADP and Paychex that are going in and taking care of the payroll. And the next thing you know, they're Skyping off that business and rolling it into their PEO and the agents out. So this is a way for you as an agent to, one, provide a valuable resource to your client, helping them with their background checks, compliance, solvency, bonding. It takes all of their payroll tax liability off of their shoulders. And take all of their, ben admin, their hiring, firing, they're basically controlling and helping you through the entire life cycle of an employee. And the best part about it, you still operate, you still do every aspect of your business, but all the paperwork side is pushed off to the PEO and all the liability is pushed off to the PEO. And that's important. I had a client in Pittsburgh, he was in the oil and gas industry, had 250 employees, and he was using ADP as a payroll company. And he decided, because every one of his employees worked a 12-hour shift, and they would get paid a specific dollar amount for that 12-hour shift, and it was based on 8 hours of regular and 4 hours of overtime. And for example, my son had worked there for a little bit, and for my son, that turned out to be $163 a day. It was like $12 an hour for 8 hours, and another, $20 an hour for the remaining 4. It came out to like 161 days. And he went to the payroll company, says, hey, can I just put the day rate? Like this guy worked 3 days. And they said, sure. So he did. Well, about a year and a half later, the payroll of Pennsylvania Department of Revenue comes in, they find him $750,000, and ADP says, that ain't my fault, that ain't my problem, it's your problem. So he had to pay that fine. So obviously a PEO would have been a wonderful situation for him because they would have been liable for that. Well, first they wouldn't have let it happen because they would have been liable. And this is important because this PEO, who's responsible for all of those payroll and tax liabilities and whatnot, is important when I get to another section where you may go, wow, can you really do that? And I say, yes, you can. Even the PEO offers this, and that gives you a little bit of a reassurance about what I'm talking about. The next thing I want to get into is reference-based pricing. And this is probably right up the wheelhouse with most of the folks on this screen, on this webinar, because as we all know, the PPO and the network is basically a very expensive middleman. It's a very, I akin it to the furniture store that's going out of business for the 17th time, where everything's 50% off and everything must go. Where you have charges that are 800% above Medicare, and oh yeah, we discounted it 25% for you. Well, thank you very much, right? Reference-based pricing is taking a model and looking at what Medicare pays and then negotiating up from there. So it drives the cost down. Whenever you have a health plan that's designed where you have a reference-based pricing model as opposed to a PPO model, a couple things happen. One, you have a national network now, right? You don't have a little narrow network. You have a broad-based network of any hospital or facility that takes Medicare. And two, you're now negotiating it from a lower price to a higher price until that you come to an agreement. And what we found is that reference-based pricing modules typically save 24% off of the best PPO price, which matters an awful lot, especially when the health plan that you have, the model that you have, isn't that old traditional fully insured model, right? And most small business owners, especially the under 50 crowd, have that traditional health insurance group health model where it's a fully insured plan, right? Through one of the BUCAs, for example, or even worse yet, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, UPMC Medical Center, the famous nonprofit that makes more money than God. So, and that leads us right into the level funded component. So what is level funded? Well, when you think about health insurance in general, there are basically three types of health insurance in the group marketplace, and I'm looking for it. There we go. Right? You have the fully insured model, like the BUCAs, and that's the most expensive health plan that's in the marketplace. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the self-insured, right? There's no insurance really at all, right? They're just paying for it out of their revenue. So the small company typically has the fully insured, and the large company, right, the Walmarts of the world, they are self-insured. They have a third-party administrator that adjudicates claims, and they're basically paying for those claims out of their revenue. For the small business owner, they can't do that. One bad car accident, one bad cancer claim, and that poor company's out of business. And that's where level funding comes in. Now, level funding has grown in popularity over the last about 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years ago, not many people even knew what the heck it was. And I don't know the level of education or awareness of these types of plans with the folks on this webinar, but level funding is a very great option because it's giving you the best of both worlds. It's giving you the protection and the security of a fully insured type plan, but with the flexibility and the ability to save money and the ability to underwrite and the ability to potentially get money back if you have a great claims experience with a level funded plan. Essentially, level funded, just to give you a very simple diagnosis, is we underwrite the health of the organization. We have a basic idea of what we expect the claims data to be. And then we put a cap on it. We say, okay, look, anything over this particular number, we're going to fully insure with a reinsurance carrier so that there's no additional risk. But by golly, if you're really good and you use products like Prater, and we use things like the Oklahoma Surgical Center, and you use things like DPC, or you use telemedicine as opposed to going to the ER, hey, look, you'll drive those costs down, and there's a reward for it. Because if you don't outspend your claims bucket, we're going to give 100% of that back to you at the end of the year. So what level funding does is it allows us to refund claims. Last year, just in our Pittsburgh office, we refunded over $1 million of claims. 44 out of the 46 clients that we had 0 rate increase and received money back at the end of the year. Now that's important because when we look back here at the entire plan Panoptic, you'll see we have level funded health plans, right? National network, 100% refund of your unused claims bucket, a better renewal and a better price. And then we have tools like reference-based pricing and Prouder to help you shop and compare. We designed this in a manner that we empower that employer and we empower the employees to be better consumers of healthcare. And if they're better consumers of healthcare, there's less money coming out of the claims, which has a better chance of having money left over at the end of the year with that level funded health plan. And we have multitude of carriers. I can't even count, 20 or so. And what's nice is we now have the ability to customize that plan. So when we look at a traditional level funded plan, right? You have your typical standard run of the meal, right? The platinums, the golds, the bronzes, the silvers. But we now have the ability to take these and tweak them. I can take out, for example, doctor visits, take out the copay. I can completely remove first dollar benefits. If I want to, I can have a deductible of $5,000 a day if I want. I can design this any way I want. And that makes this extremely powerful because when we start breaking down the other components of Plan Panoptic and the other tools, you'll see how they each will feed into each other. So one of the nice things about our level funded chassis is we have a program called eHealth app where we're able to collect all the data. That way every year we can go back to that employer and say, look, this is why you did so well, and we're giving you this check for $75,000 because look, based on your data, these people all, instead of going to the ER, they went to the Med Express, and these people, instead of going to the doctor, they called the telemedicine line and for some simple little thing. Or conversely, hey, look, the reason why you're not getting very much back or why there's a rate increase is because look, every one of your employees, they had a little cut on their finger and they went to the ER, driving your costs up. So the data makes you a better employee and better agent to help educate that employer and help them design their plan and create incentives for their employees to become better consumers of healthcare. When they're not paying for it, if it's not coming out of their pocket, people don't give a crap. But when it is, and they got skin in the game, all of a sudden it becomes important. So part of that whole process of being a good agent and being a good benefits broker is to educate the employer and the employees and helping them make their lives better by educating them on being better consumers of healthcare. So again, we can design these level funded health plans pretty much almost any way we want. We even designed one that covers breast augmentation, for goodness sakes. One little caveat outside of this, I wanted to mention this real quick, is because some people aren't, companies with lots of employees, and we can write these level funded health plans all the way down to a group of less than 5. So we can go that small with a level funded health plan where you typically could not do that before. In fact, we have a plan that we can go down to the 1, an ACA compliant group level funded health plan for the single self-employed individual, the K1, the self-employed, this S Corp guy, the 1099 guy, the realtor, right? The insurance agent, the construction worker, the mom and pop shop. We can get a group health plan level funded all the way down to 1. And typical, right? $1,500 all the way up through a $7,350 plan. Very good. In fact, it's kind of nice too because little things like we waive the deductible for facility PET scans, MRIs, right? The big imaging, which is typically subject to deductible. We do not apply the deductible. And when it comes right down to it, look at these rates. My gosh, a $7,350, you're only talking $397 for a single. I mean, that's strong. That's, this is a level funded health plan. So that's all the way down to the 1. So alongside the level funded health plan for a company, we have another beautiful program that we call Traverse. Now, Traverse is unique in the sense that it is a Section 125 wellness program. Now, Section 125 wellness programs have been around for a while. Some have, unfortunately, some bad publicity because they were done in a crooked manner, I guess you could say. But what we have is literally a fully insured and approved by the state of Texas and the state of Arizona, a fully insured wellness program. And that's important, one, because wellness is key, right? Teaching your employees to be fit and healthy, and they have unlimited access to this wellness program. But the beautiful part about this wellness program is it does produce a bunch of tax savings for the employer and the employees. This fully insured health plan, this fully insured wellness program typically will save an employer approximately $150 per employee per month. So picture this small business owner, right? He got 20 employees and his employee only fully insured health rate is $500 per employee per month, right? For some BUCA plan. And we go in and we say, hey, look, let me show you how I can save you 20 to 30% right off the get-go by using an underwritten level funded health plan. And you have the opportunity to get money back if your claims experience is good. And I'm going to show you all kinds of ways to make sure that your claim experience is good by providing telemedicine and Prater and tools and services to help your clients become healthier, like a wellness program. And when we put this wellness program in, by the way, Mr. Business Owner, it's going to save on average, save you, the business owner, $150 per employee per month in tax savings. So now that $500 employee only fully insured health plan, we move to a level funded plan. Now it's only $400. And then I implement a wellness program that saves you another $150. So now you're down to $250 a month. I just saved 50% of your premium, right? And provided wellness that is able to keep your group healthy. And that wellness plan provides some tax benefits to the employees. For example, if you had an employee that was making $4,000 before the wellness, and we plugged this wellness program in, and under this example, we're showing a $700 premium. And with our fully insured wellness plan, this premium can literally be as high as $4,600 a month, approved by the state of Texas and Arizona. And I'll get in how we get in all the other states. There's a way that we do that. And I kind of alluded to it earlier, but we can do this in literally all 50 states. This premium drives down their taxable income, which saves taxes on that employee of approximately $200. And the wellness program, when they speak with that wellness coach and work with that wellness coach, it pays an insurance claim, literally an insurance claim, no different than if you had an accident and you went to the doctor and the insurance company paid a claim, that keeps their net take-home pay about the same or slightly higher. They don't, nothing out of pocket. So that produces this $200 worth of tax savings that we're then able to use to add a bunch of supplementary benefits to the program, like accident coverage or a high-end indemnity plan or a gap coverage to cover the deductible. So now I'm able to come in, use those tax savings to cover the gap, which allows me to go back next year and raise the deductible even higher on their primary level funded health plan. So one of the tools that we use inside of this is a high-end indemnity plan that pays $1,500 a day every day that you're in the hospital. Well, after a year, I come back to the business owner and I'm like, oh, by the way, all of your employees have this $1,500 a day indemnity plan. What do you think I'd be able to do to that deductible the following year? As opposed to it being at a 2,000 or 3,000, I can literally now design that level funded health plan with a $1,500 or $1,000 per day deductible. And there's still nothing out of pocket for that employee. So what happens is now that price comes down even more because I'm starting to shape that level funded health plan into the way I want it to be. Some of the times we take these tax dollars, and you all may be familiar with it, is the health matching account. I know that Charles and Jeff are very big on that. So we'll take some of those funds and we'll fund an HMA, which now grows in value and is able to pay for all the hiccups, nosebleeds, and sniffles, right? It's able to pay for the doctor visits and the co-pays and the chiropractors and all the different things that people need on an annual basis. And it didn't cost the employee anything. And the employer is still saving the money. So now when you go back and you look at this thing from a totalitarian standpoint, right? You have a level funded health plan, which is going to typically save an employer 20 to 30% right off the get-go, plus 100% refund of the unused claim bucket. We bring in a wellness program to keep them healthy and provide products and services that drive down the cost of the level funded health plan year after year because of the benefits that are growing inside of here, right? One of them being the health matching account, which has the matching component, dollar for dollar matching component over a period of time. You have the PEO, which can keep everybody legal and compliant, reducing that regulatory burden on that employer. And remember, I told you that this program is licensed and approved by the state insurance department in both Texas and Arizona right now, and we're working on other states. But the PEO, which would be responsible for all tax and liability, has brought this program into their chassis. And we're now able to offer this program in cahoots with the PEO, which now in any state in the union, because the PEO is domiciled in Texas, and you have in a PEO, you have what's called a co-employment relationship. So even though you, Mr. Business Owner, you run your shop, you do everything, you hire, fire, you do whatever you want, but we have this co-employment relationship, which makes me, the PEO, liable for any mistake. Now that's domiciled in Texas, which opens up this wellness program anywhere in the country. So if you want to open up to questions, Charles and Jeff,
That'll be good.
More than ready.
We certainly will. That's really good because, that's the reality of being able to be creative and stuff. And for sure, most agents invariably are like order takers. I just wrote the Blue Cross and I see you're going to get a rate hike. I run the one other competitor in town, Aetna, and we pick between the two and I keep you as a customer and we call it a day and I go down the road. But you're right, because, we're almost enablers to be doing it that way, because really that's why all the costs keep going up. Like you said, the whole goal is to get everyone focused on bringing costs down, which is only going to work when you have skin in the game and there's an incentive to do better. That's right. It. It's real simple. It'll just happen by itself. So that's,
and I can tell you, insurance agents are incredibly lazy. Believe me, I have.
You think they're the
1,500 of them that I work with.
Salesperson usually means lazy in general. Just the word salesperson. I've been in a lot of different business through the years. As soon as you have salesperson after their name, it means they're doing like the bare minimum, other than trying to sell the car or whatever it is.
And anyway, hey, listen, I can guarantee you. Here's what your broker said to you last year. Oh, by the way, hey, you have a great health plan. I think that you should just keep it. I checked around. You're only going up 8%. You only lost 3 doctors, 1 hospital, and your deductible is only going up $500. But this is the best deal for you. Just sign the renewal form. Like, that's it.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, look, hey, if you're willing to put in the effort to explain this stuff, because it's, hey, I gave you guys the 30,000 foot view. You're sitting with a business owner, right? You're drilling down. So, you got to explain this stuff and get them to understand it. But once that light goes off, you know that you're going to save that guy so much money year after year, and you're going to have to work with them and teach them and educate them and work with their employees and work to try to help them become better consumers of healthcare and understand all the little components of it. But if you're able to do that, my gosh, you got a client for life, 1, and 2, the referrals are off the charts, right? Dude, I've talked to this insurance guy, this Marley guy. Holy crap, you wouldn't believe this stuff. Man, it's tough, but boy, once you get it, it is really great. So, it does take a little bit of effort. So, encourage people to don't be lazy, man. Like, get off the couch and like work for a living and try to help people, and you'll become way more successful than you could ever imagine.
What's also very interesting you said, and we're going to definitely get on these questions, is that you're also helping drive the good doctor. Like, because usually, like you said, when you're trying to go to like the surgical center, yeah, that's the better surgery center anyway. And we should be rewarding them for being in existence than like when you here, I'm in Cleveland, you're the nonprofit Cleveland Clinic. Similarly, they own half of downtown. So they're not the best for all of this stuff, and they just gouge on price all day. I see we have some doctors raising their hand. Dr. Tinsley, I think you had a question there.
Yeah, thank you so much. I couldn't find the hand raising icon. So it's like we talked earlier, I'm having the worst time talking to companies here because it's so new. I know if I could get one company to sign on, that others would follow. So what kind of advice can you give me to try and open up this market? I mean, it's an enormous market. There's 1.8 million people here, and the Chesapeake Bay is the largest port on the East Coast.
So when you're asking what you're trying to get companies to sign on, are you talking about?
Doing what you do, unless they're doing level funded plans, they're not going to sign a DPC doc.
No, that's the first step. Get them on a level funded plan. I mean,
Okay.
why would they
Well,
wouldn't sign a DPC doc if they had a fully insured plan anyway? Why would they?
So I'm not a benefits manager. I'm a DPC doc. So, and there's no benefits manager here doing what you're doing. So where do we go from here?
Well, if you have business owners in the area that would be open to the idea of something different, I'd be able to get you agents there that are trained and know how to do it. That I could do.
Well, sure. I mean, that's what benefits managers have said. They want me to go fishing for them and find their business for them. But that's just not working. I'm a DPC doc. How do we convince these companies is that's the way? Let's say I'm talking to a company, what do I tell them?
So you're talking to a company, they have a benefit package of some sort, most likely a fully insured health plan. They're paying out the nose, they're getting a rate increase every year, their network shrinks every year, their deductible goes up every year, and they're complaining about it, and you say to them, realize doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, it's the definition of insanity, right?
I've used that ad actually.
So, give me 15 minutes and I'll show you a better way. Now, I think where the problem that you might have, right, if you're a DPC doctor and you go to me, the company owner, right, I have a little cabinetry making shop, and I got 9 employees that are, chopping wood and making cabinets. And you say, hey, this DPC model, this is the ticket, man. This is the best way for you to go. So when he says, okay, one of my guys chops his arm off and he's bleeding all over the place and he got to go to the ER, what is the DPC doctor going to do for me? Right?
Right. Well, they understand that. I even got a couple of company heads in here, but they don't do what they won't do the level funded plans for their company. So I'm at a loss for reeling these guys in.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be able to cover the catastrophic because, people buy insurance not for the doctor visit. If they do, they're a fool. Right? If I know that I'm not going to have any heart attack, any cancer, any stroke, or not get run over by a truck, I'm not buying insurance for anything. I go to the doctor, I'll pay him cash. Hey, I got to, I need to go. Like I have a elbow. I went and saw an orthopedic guy. I'm like, hey, dude, my elbow hurts. He sticks a shot in my elbow. I'm done. I ain't going to see him ever again. I would go only as needed. But you buy insurance to cover the what if, the baddest day of your life, right? The day you just found out you got some kind of crazy cancer or got run over by a truck. So I think the key for you is being able to find some way of covering the catastrophic in your pitch.
Well, that's what the level funded plan is for. That's what the stopgap insurance is for.
Correct. So, a level funded health plan, I can design it with no doctor visit coverage whatsoever.
Just the perfect.
DPC would fit right in there, right?
Right, that is true insurance.
Correct. I know when I went to the doctor when I was a kid, we didn't have insurance for that, right? Mom handed him the 20 while he was smoking a cigarette.
Same here.
Right.
Yeah, we had what's called catastrophic care.
Yeah. Hospitalization, right? I can't leave the mill. I got that good old hospitalization.
Yeah, you didn't pay the orthopedic doctor out of your insurance. You paid him cash.
That's
Yeah,
it.
That's what I did
That's-
today.
that's
me
it.
$35.
So the problem we're having here is getting benefits managers to help recruit. So if they want me to, I equate it to fishing. I'm looking for somebody to help me cut bait and fish. People
Do
that
you have any or know of any insurance agents in
look
the
at
area? You know anybody in the area? I'd be more than happy to talk to them and plug them into what we do. Then you'd have an ally.
there are no allies here.
Well, you gotta make an ally.
We'll have to go to work on that a little bit. Let's keep
That's
zooming on our.
hard to do when they're making a fortune selling insurance.
Yeah, but there are people that are willing to play, Dr. Tinsley, for sure. We'll have to address some of that. But to be on time here tonight, let's grab another quickie question. Dr. Campbell, I see you got your hand up.
Yes, thanks again for a great presentation. I'm wondering, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm wondering what states are you operating in, and are all of these plans or some of these plans ERISA compliant?
Yeah, they're all going to be ERISA compliant. We are in virtually every state. I can be in any state, but I choose not to work in New York or California and up in the Northeast. But my hometown is Pittsburgh, so we're definitely in Pennsylvania. What part of the Keystone State are you in?
I'm in the Harrisburg area, and
Okay.
we get the same thing that Jeff had mentioned. You get a broker, they come in and they say, okay, we can give you Blue Shield, Blue Cross, Aetna, or United, and this year it's going to cost $27,000 for the family, and the copay's going up.
Yeah, definitely could help you. In fact, one of the best reps I have is right in that Pittsburgh office.
I would love to be introduced. Now, I got to, I feel kind of foolish because I've been working for over a year now on creating a demonstration project for doing just what you're doing, which is lowering costs. And actually, we've got a whole team that's been working on it. And I'm going to be meeting with Director of CMS and trying to I'd like to do a demonstration project where somebody who pays $27,000 for a family for insurance, a broker can come in and say, if you want to be innovative and you want to be a little different and you want to use DBC and you want to use price transparency, you might get insurance for, let's say, $25,000, $24,000. Give me a little break.
Yeah, I've found that most of the time, unless you have a bunch of sick bellies in the group, we're going to come in pretty close to 30% less the first year, and it gets better and better thereafter.
Definitely. I want to hook up with your Pittsburgh fellow, not to do my insurance brokers, but I'd like to involve them in a demonstration project. Do you know Tony Dale of Sedera Health?
Sedera, yeah, we've worked with Sedera.
Okay.
Not a lot. Well, in fact, actually, the that Traverse program.
Yeah.
Right. We're about 2 weeks out from closing that with Sedera.
Okay. Well, I'd like to do something with brokers and insurance agents and doctors, and I'd like to do it this year. So I'll be in touch with you for sure. I got your webpage. Thank you.
And write this name down. Micah, M-I-C-A-H, Micah Livanos, L-I-V-A-N-O-S, Micah Livanos. He's in my Pittsburgh office, and he would be more than willing to help and work and talk with you. He's a wonderful kid with a lot of energy, and he's smart and he's bright, and he would certainly be an asset in your world.
And is that on the Marcon webpage?
It would be on Marcon or You can find him on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, thank you.
He's a VP of sales of in our group benefits group benefits.
Super. Charles, I see you've got your hand up.
I do, Jeff and Todd. Yeah, just superb, just like it was when we met you a year ago or so, or was it 2 years ago? A couple examples could you give of clients as they have experienced some of these benefits? For example, the return of savings from using Prater and DPC, and then the tax savings from the Section 125 wellness, and then that allows for the purchase of the indemnity to cover up that out of pocket, and then the growing HMA to further, basically create a first dollar plan.
Yeah,
So
it's beautiful. So, broad strokes, right? Broad strokes, because every group is different, right? The level funded plan, we're typically going to come in pretty close to 30% under what they're paying for a apple to apple fully insured BUCA plan. Apple to apple, right? Same deductible, same, apples to apples, we're going to come in about 30% less. 44 out of 46 of our groups last year got a refund. Those refunds range from, a couple $1,000. I think the biggest one was like 91 or 90,000, somewhere around 90,000, which is a nice chunk of change. The Section 125, typically on average about $150. The employer will save around $150 per employee per month in their tax savings, and the employee will have typically right around $250 worth of money that we can use to purchase additional products. We typically will do that portion on an individual basis because we have like guaranteed life insurance with long-term care benefits. We have indemnity, we have gap, accident, critical illness, HMA. So we kind of customize it for each individual employee with the basics of whatever that employer wants. So if the employer says, hey, listen, I want to make sure everybody got gap coverage because we want to, next year, we want to raise our deductible up, well, let me make sure we got the gap in there. Or we'll put I usually talk them into the indemnity because it's much better and about the same price. So I'll put them in, 1 unit indemnity plan and maybe some critical illness, whatever. And then we'll fund that HMA. Well, as you know, HMA takes 1.5 years, 2 years before it really starts getting some good value. So again, the following year, we come back, we review everything, and then we adjust the plans, and then that will drive those level funded premiums down even more the following year. And again, there's just too many variables to give like a hard concrete number, but those are pretty good averages right there. I hope that answered your question.
Definitely. Jeff?
I was just going to say that, the nice thing about what you're doing too, though, you're not really almost saying this out loud, but, you're becoming more of a kind of consultative in a real meaningful way, because everybody always claims to be a consultant these days, but but they can see like there's like an active involvement and integration as opposed to like a cudgel, which is just insurance, like a big hammer. And like you said, it's just about, a financial tool, but it has no thinking behind it. It's not like artificial intelligence, like what you're doing, because like you said, as you improve the numbers, that's like the almost, counterintuitive. What do you mean I'm going to get better next year? I thought you were just going to try to get me a lower increase for next year, as opposed to the numbers actually getting better.
Yeah, your benefits get better and your costs decrease year after year.
Which is great. And this way you can focus on, guess what, being in whatever business you think you're supposed to be in, instead of being an insurance operation indirectly.
Yeah.
So, and it is liberating, because boy, you'll have put a lot more money to the bottom line of the company to grow and be more of a better business. And the employees will be a lot happier by far, because it's more unique and customized. Because what I've always seen too, you're a new company, you get this health plan, you're kind of young, no claims experience, you can, it's relatively cheap. Then by about year or two or whatever, it's up and up. And then you finally keep raising the deductible, then you switch to some other company. And by then, you know what? There's not one employee working there that likes the plan anymore.
Yeah.
Now they hate it.
Yeah. And then they're, oh, by the way, your doctor's not in it anymore.
Exactly. So there you go. Any last questions? Because we're coming up on the end of the hour here already, amazingly and fast.
Jeff, Charlie here.
Please.
I might invite Bob Staubel to make a comment,
Sure.
but until he wants to. What about ICRAs, Todd? A lot of folks are saying Trump's expansion of those individual HRAs are going to increasingly become popular, just a way for employers to forget the group hassle and just give money to their employees.
Yeah. I think ICRA is got an awful lot of potential. We're seeing it with some of the smaller groups, and like what we'll do if we got somebody got some pretty sick bellies, we figure out ways to carve them out with ICRA. That one self-employed individual health plan is a nice little tool for that as well. God, if I can eventually, I've been working with a couple different captives trying to design another little component and just keep running into regulatory headaches. But if I can get that designed, I think it would solve a ton of problems. I'm basically, stripping out all the coverage and just a straight catastrophic plan. With like a $50,000 deductible kind of a thing.
All right. Well, I'd say we've kind of unfortunately run out of steam here, but Todd, that was really great. And we'll definitely, get this up. Like I said, will be some contact information in the credits. So for anybody that didn't get anything jotted down, don't worry about it. And remember once again that when you come here, by Monday morning, you come to the site, go on the webinar tab, scroll to the bottom here, and you'll see here again are all of the links where this video is going to be archived. So please feel free to share. And as a favor for us, join all the channels as subscribers, because this helps us trend on every channel better. And they're all different audiences watching videos here. So we want to capitalize on those eyeballs. Todd, thanks so much for today.
Thank you so much. And, I got to tell you, you guys are doing a really great job. And I appreciate what you're doing. And I will definitely join those, SIG 5 there channels and start, telling people about you guys because, this is the key. It always comes back to educating the consumer. So
Great.
Spend the time and I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's a great job.
Super.